This is the hardest ROM hack for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Pokemon Compass. This mod makes Pokemon Scarlet literally 10 times better, and while it's not necessarily a difficulty hack, it is indeed harder. So, naturally, I'm gonna try to Nuzlocke it. But it's Scarlet and Violet anyways, so I should be fine, right? Anyways, this mod changes spawns of Pokemon, gives gym leaders more Pokemon and better Pokemon, some gym leaders are doubles, oh not again, and so much more. I think this game even changes the post-game, but for us, I just want to beat it with hardcore Nuzlocke rules. Can I do it? I sure hope so. There's no turning back now. So we start off like we usually do, creating our character, and it looks like the game is already breaking. Do I want this look? No. I actually made us look like mother and daughter. I swear this cat always gets stuck on the fence. Well, guess who I'm not choosing? And I kept my word, going with the Fire Croc Fuecoco, who I named Lightning. Yeah, that's right. Take the leftovers, Nemona. Yo, I was kidding. Chill. How do you terrastalize on me? This is my first battle. Don't put that face, Nemona. You're the one cheating. Now, Nuzlocks are a little weird in Scarlet and Violet when you're not limited to types. All encounters are viable, and therefore it's not random like in older games. Basically, I could either choose what encounter I want for each area, or I could grab every name of every Pokemon in the route and spin a wheel. But one, that would take too long for every route, and two, new spawns have been added in some areas, so I wouldn't even know all the Pokemon in a certain area. So instead, I covered my eyes and just held forward. This took some time as I couldn't see, but eventually I did run into a Tarantula. Not the best, but it's fine. I didn't count the Lechonk as that's technically the catching tutorial, and it's guaranteed. Right on. This is literally the only food I have for the entire run. Are you kidding me? If it was up to me, I'd let you starve. Go hunt some Magikarp. I'm sure you could be the apex predator of the sea. Just literally swim in there, Thundershock, and there you go. 5-star meal. Okay, so apparently there is documentation for this mod, and it gives us a list of encounters for each area, and I can just copy and stick them in a random spinning wheel to decide what I'll catch. And that makes my life a whole lot easier. Okay, hold on. Apparently the starters have different abilities, so I started looking. I believe it's their hidden abilities, and while Sprigatito does have Protein and Fuecoco Unaware, I went with Quaxley since it has Moxie, and I'm itching to use Sally here. Pokepath only has a couple of encounters, and we ended up rolling Fletchling, which is awesome. And I kind of forgot that the beach downstairs is part of Pokepath, I guess, but it's fine. It's not a big deal. Young Goose was for Inlet Grotto, and from there we fought Arven, who actually has different Pokemon. Nacli was easy enough, but I did risk a Leafage from Capsakid since I got a Moxie boost. It wasn't worth it. Either way, Fletcher here finished this fight right up. My next roll was an Azuro for South Area 1, and the question here was, huge power or thick fat? God damn it. But I figured since this game changes a bunch of stuff, maybe there's a chance that we do get ability capsules early, and it looks like we get a bonus for searching through the documentation. We happen to get 3 of them doing the Olive Roll game a second time in Cortando, meaning Azu isn't completely useless. Now I needed more Pokemon as Pneumonia as a team of 4, and I'm straight up not confident, and in thinking of what I could do, I found this little guy. That's a shiny! Oh, that's so rare. Yo! Oh, a white Eevee's just chilling. Nice, dude. I swear I thought my eyes were deceiving me. That's full odds, I think. Oddly enough, it was a Los Platos encounter, which technically you can't get since cities don't spawn Pokemon. Or catchable Pokemon, in that case. The only way would be to lead a Pokemon from South Province into the city and then catch it, but that feels kind of cheap, so I won't do it. Don't know why this shiny Eevee just strolled into town. Maybe it was looking for a snack, but instead it found me. I don't even see Eevee around here. Also, Eevee specifically had its stats changed in this mod, as well as its movesets, and movesets for its evolutions, which makes this shiny even more luckier. Another cool thing is that every TM is unlocked in the TM machine, so we should be able to come up with some cool strats. For now though, we need to take on Pneumonia, but this fight is super easy since the level cap for Katie is now level 28, meaning I could literally be level 25 here and destroy Nemona with our newly evolved Sally. So by working up, taking virtually no damage, we get to +5 and then +6 upon KOing Fuecoco thanks to Moxie. With that, we one-shot everything else on her team. Sorry Nemona, but you'll get your time to shine later. I seriously want to know who thought it was a good idea to include this long, useless school intro into the game, and I will say it for every Scarlet and Violet video I ever do. Remember the good old days where you'd just start the run and boom, you'd be in Brock's gym in like 10 minutes? This whole school crap is like a whole hour from the start of the game until you finish it. Where's my hair coming out from? My hat? Once we're all done with the school portion, we can finally get some encounters. I love the way the map shows you level ranges for the Pokemon. It's a nice little touch. For South Province 2, I rolled all these encounters layers and ended up with Tinkatink, which is just amazing. But now I actually had to look for the darn thing. It took a while, but I figured it would be in the mountains, and it was in these ruins. From here I caught a Rookidee in South Province 3, and then I went searching for an Oshawott in 5, but it took me a long time to figure out where this thing was. And because of that, well, just watch. Is that a shiny Shinx? Is that a Wait! That's a Luxio! What is going on? Are the shiny rates up? No! No! Oh my god, is that another shiny? What is happening, dude? That thing is so beautiful. Dude, I can't believe I found a Luxio. I'm just trying to find an Oshawott. What is happening? What is happening? Is that a Wooper in the back? Why is everything shiny? Wait! Get out of here! Is that a shiny Wooper? Wait, Whoopie. What is happening? I'm just looking for an Oshawott. This is literally like 2 minutes after the Luxio. I got both Woopers. I'm just looking for my encounter in the area. 3 shinies is crazy, but eventually I did find him. There you are. Oh my god, where have you been? Oh, just use the quick ball. I'm over it. I'm over it. Get in the ball. You son of a... As for my Pokemon League encounter, it was a Fido. With a healthy amount of Pokemon on the team, I took on the first gym leader, Katie, whose team is slightly different, however Sally made easy work of everyone thanks to Moxie. So as fast as we went in is as fast as we came out. And now we can get our ability capsules by doing this olive roll again, which I didn't even know you could do, and this one is way harder. But in the end, I won, by not even putting it in the net. Gotta love how broken this game is. And after that, we get our 3 ability capsules, and since I'm not using Azu right now, I will save that one. Clodsire could get water absorbed though, so I might want that. Now my next encounter was for West Area 1, and I got a Petalil, but I promise you I looked everywhere and could not find one for the life of me. And I actually saw some Smoliv in this area which don't appear in the habitat list, so maybe some of the documentation is wrong? Either way, I'll save this and try again later. As for Asado Desert, well, Hippowdon is too high a level. Wattrel and Diglett weren't too shabby though. I mean, it's floor shit. Finally, we move on to Cloth, which is scary, as I don't know if this thing has changed at all. But I let Quaxwell to low sweep to lower its speed, and man, that did a lot. For me, I just switched Mufasa in and out for Intimidates, which might have not been the best idea, as he does have Stone Edge and X-Scissor, 2 high critical hit moves. Either way, it never got a crit, and Tinkerbell was able to Terrasilize and Metal Claw it to death. I didn't lead Tinkerbell because I didn't know if this still had Rock Smash or not. But if I just didn't Terrasilize and led her, maybe I would have been fine. The second fight with Arven, it showed Crab Hammer, so that's why Squirt is up. Oh, and it had a Citrus Berry, which I didn't think anything of. But that meant that its ability Anger Shell activated twice. Scary, but with Arven's Dolive, we were chilling. That thing had a helping hand as well, but it only used it once, so I couldn't really benefit from it. Not a thought in that mind, huh, Clodsire? And just like Clodsire, I put my mind in autopilot as I just clicked Acrobatics for Brassius on everyone. Until Sudowoodo, that is. Since I just know he's gonna have a Rock-type move. And it'll probably not be Rock Throw, so I switched in Mufasa for an Intimidate. And there we go. It's Rock Slide. From here, we can Volt Switch for Chip and go into Squirt on a Mimic? Okay. From here, we yawn as he uses Mimic again, and then we just go into Mufasa once more as he gets a big crit, which is not good. Now, this Sudowoodo has Rattled, which does raise his speed since I lowered his attack, so it's super fast now, but it's also asleep. And what are the odds it wakes up the first turn? Yeah, I didn't think so. Now we Volt Switch into Fletcher, who can Terrasilize on a potential Rock Slide. As I didn't think Acrobatics would just KO from full, but from there, Brassius is defeated. A little safe, but it was worth it. Our next encounter was an amazing encounter, that in Slowpoke, and it had a great nature. A little more than just great. Bombardier was super easy, not thanks to Intimidate, but because we literally one-shot it with Spark. Maybe I needed to fight this thing before Brassius? Not too sure. Either way, we continue on to Giacomo, and his little runt at the beginning actually has 4 Pokemon, but to be honest, she wasn't hard at all thanks to Moxie, and well, the level cap right now is 41 for Kofu, which we do fight before Iono, so we can go into Giacomo at a significant advantage. That plus the fact that I have Lefties, plus Protect, and Workup, plus Aqua Step, plus Moxie on Sally. yeah, this was far from the most difficult fight in the run. That thing is going to need some serious repairs. I'd give you money, but I'm a child, and I'm in desperate need of it. Sorry, brother. Now, like I said, in Pokemon Compass, Kofu is fought earlier than Iono, and so the rival fight for Iono is now fought in Kasarafa instead. She has a brand new team aside from her starter and Lycanroc, and for this, I just led a Sally, as she can Aqua Step for a speed boost and Terrasilize for some extra damage. With that, Lycanroc dies, I protect for health on Houndstone, and I was really hoping with that Moxie boost we would still KO, and we do, thankfully, as it did Howl. Then Espathra can't outspeed since we have speed boosts. Beartic is just a horrible Pokemon, I wish it was better. And as for her starter, well, it's weak to water, so no surprise there. I didn't even need to set up thanks to Moxie. That ability is broken, especially with Aqua Step. Now, before I took on Kofu, I wanted to see if I could just find this Petalil. It's been days, and every time I try to look for it, I just cannot seem to find it. But even the documentation tells me exactly where it is, and I still can't find it. I figured I was close since I had seen Sunflora and Combee, which I hadn't before, and then I saw Smoliv again, which is weird since the documentation doesn't say it spawns here. So I figured maybe the documentation is just wrong, until I found it. Just one little Gao, and that's it. This thing is so rare. Mia too? Finally, welcome to the team. I'm not kidding, that took days to find. I was about to give up, and the reason I wanted this thing so much was because I can evolve it into a Suian Lilligant. And in order to do that, we need a shiny stone, and there's a guaranteed one above Alfornata. So with that, we finally have this beauty. It's been a long time coming, and I'm not even at the 3rd gym yet. With MIA 2 on the team, I went to take on Kofu, and Lilligant here does have Hustle as her ability, so I did stop by the Delibird Presence store to snag a Wide Lens, as Hustle makes moves do more damage in exchange for accuracy. So I fully expect to lose her in this battle. Kofu leads a Slowking, which obviously is very bad, but with Terrasilization and Leaf Blade and Hustle, this thing stands no chance, and as long as every Leaf Blade hits, we won't lose Lilligant. I even made sure to level it up during the fight to guarantee or almost guarantee a KO on his Quillfish, since I have a modest nature on her. And thankfully, nothing ended up dodging our Leaf Blades. Risky, but I'd rather do that than to risk dying trying to set up. Speaking of setting up, I love that Quaquaval doesn't even really need to do that for most of our fights right now. I mean, one workup and Moxie does the rest for Mela, and I didn't even Terrasilize. I wonder if she's wearing these huge rain boots, since, well, she's a fire type trainer, and this way water won't hurt her. I guess that makes sense, right? I mean, they look like rain boots, right? Now, this is where the game gets a little more rough, and this is because the next couple of gym leaders are just straight up double battle, so I'm going to have to prep my team to deal with their specific typings, abilities, and moves. That is, if I knew their moves. There is no documentation on any of these Pokemon, if they have good IVs, if they have good EVs, there's nothing. I'm literally going off RJ's video. Go check out RJ's video, he's amazing. Anyways, with that, I snagged a couple more encounters from nearby routes and then took on Iono. Iono, like I said, is a double battle, and she leads in a Alolan Raichu, which is awesome to see along with her regular old Bellibolt, which I feel has static instead of its other ability, so I used Glory to Ice Fang Raichu. And I went for a light screen on my Prankster Klefki, but it straight up did not obey. So now I'm just at a loss for words. Why didn't it obey me if this is the level cap? Anyways, I immediately switched into Petrol, and Iono just straight up uses the move Soak on my Kilowattrel as I use a Terrasilize Earthquake with Gloria. Now thankfully it didn't KO Petrol, and Sandstorm ended up finishing Bellibolt, but how did the AI even know I was going to do that? Or was that just sheer luck? I'm assuming she turned us into a water type so her electric type moves would do more, but sucks for her, we have the ability Volt Absorb, and she doesn't know that. Although she should, since she herself has a Kilowattrel. Not the smartest trainer I've ever met. Now from here I tanked an Air Slash on Gloria, and Ampharos actually confused us, which wasn't good at all, and then I just roosted on Petrol. Now the next turn was much better as Kilowattrel didn't do anything, and Ampharos used Discharge to heal both our birds, and now we just needed Gloria to snap out of confusion. But then the same thing happened again, but this time Petrol got confused. Eventually Gloria did hit a dig on Ampharos, and the only reason it didn't KO was because her bird was using Feather Dance. I sent in Tinkerbell fearing an Air Slash and Squirt to eat a Power Gem, but instead got confused. But this time it's okay, or it would be okay if I had switched into Kilowattrel on this Discharge, which I actually meant to do, but I forgot I had clicked Play Rough earlier on Tinkerbell's slot because I was just kind of plotting on what I would do next and forgot. Either way, we did what we wanted to do the following turn, and this worked out great as Petrol got health, Gloria is immune, and the only thing to make the turn better is if Sandstorm actually KO'd Ampharos, but it didn't. Now we just quick attack to finish Ampharos off, and since I know that Air Slash is coming, I rested for some more health, and this brings in Miss Magus, her ace. I know Miss Magus has Mystical Fire, but it used Wonder Room of all things, so I'm assuming they're more tanky now thanks to Hippowdon. For me, I just tried to wake up to Ice Fang, and eventually I did, but then she just roosted, which was actually good as Gloria rested once more. Eventually, I did let Gloria go down and switch into Clodsire, but this bird is so annoying because it has Feather Dance, so this Miss Magus should be dead, but it's just not. Finally, I went for a Volt Switch on Miss Magus, hoping it would KO, and it indeed did, and Mufasa came in for Clodsire since Air Slash is resisted. With that, we just gave it our all, biting and poison jabbing away until it finally died. Clodsire did almost bite the dust, but all was well. Gloria, I actually kinda liked you for that one fight we did. Come over here, challenger! No, you killed my beautiful hippo. I'm not gonna be in your live stream. As usual, this thing didn't pose a threat, and off we went to evolve our shiny Eevee with a Sunstone, which I totally didn't forget about. Are there better shiny evolutions? Sure. But I've never really given Espeon love, so why not? And you'd think I'd be using this for Atticus, but no. The better option is literally my boosted nature perfect IV 252 in attack floor shit. 3 floor shits to be exact.
That's 3 floor shit.
And they take down all of Atticus's Pokemon no problem. He had 2 Toxtricities for some reason when there's so many more poison types, but either way we cruised to the Starmobile, and I did not expect this to kill. And I would be right, but to come that close to doing it actually impressed me, as I'm pretty sure the Starmobiles are buffed. And I really thought I didn't need a Soft Sand, but it turns out a Soft Sand would have completed the sweep here. And all 3 of my floor shits took a shit on me. But he used Double Edge, so technically we did get the sweep off. Probably should have took the time to get some Soft Sand. Oh well. Next up is Larry, and this is also a double battle where he leads Arboliva and Oinkologne. I let Jingle to reflect while Luxray can just intimidate, and Volt Switch into Tinkerbell. Oddly enough, the pig did have Earth Power, but it's fine. From there, I went for a nice Light Screen, and Arboliva's Seed Power set up Grassy Terrain. Oh, and it used Weather Ball in the sun, meaning it's a Fire-type move, and Tinkerbell died. I mean, how was I supposed to know that? Anyways, I went for a nice Brick Break on Arboliva, so it does no more damage, and then Cloyster came in for Klefki. Oinkologne doesn't seem like a threat aside from Yawn, and thankfully it kept targeting Cloyster, and I was able to one-shot Greedent thanks to Moxie. But then Weirdeer was in. I'm also realizing that Cloyster isn't at the cap. Son of a... Weirdeer does have Psyshield Bash, but regardless, I did Terrasilize, and we did a chunk with Aqua Step. So a turn later, that's gone, and Blissey is in. Oh, and Cloyster won't obey me, and I'm assuming it's because of the level I caught it at, but yeah, this sucks. Thankfully, I did get a Protect Off as Sally was still asleep, and the following turn I swapped in Mia too as Sally woke up for the KO on the pig. Since we're +3 in attack thanks to Moxie, the Dunsparce stands no chance, and Blissey isn't a threat, and well, that's the battle. Super sad about Tinkaton, although it wasn't doing much early game. But we gotta worry about the present. We got a Nemona fight to do, and we're down a Pokemon. We're back to singles, and I really thought this would be a special Bronzong. It's not. It had Heavy Slam. So now I have both screens on the field, and then I went into Mufasa for an Intimidate, and then I wanted it to use Confuse Ray, and then I just sparked, hoping for a Paralysis. And we actually got it, and she used the move. Meaning now I can go into Sally on a Heavy Slam for free. From here, I don't know if it has a Psychic type move, so I just Terrasilize, but it just confuses. The good thing about having Bulk Up as the setup move is that I'll take the same amount of damage from Confusion since I boost my defense as well. This is also just a safe sweep since Bronzong doesn't seem to have anything other than Steel type moves. So we take no damage, Lefties heals us, and Confusion does absolutely nothing. So we bulk up to +6 safely, and now we just outspeed most things. However, she does have a Tauros, and this thing is fast. But surprisingly, we're still chilling. From here, it's a clean sweep. And it looks like some of these Pokemon have damage-reducing berries, which again, I have no documentation for. Now, our next gym is Tulip, and I don't really have an answer for this, but then I remembered Hisuian Samurott is a Dark type, and it will evolve from regular old Dewott. So I looked at the documentation, and it said I needed to level it up holding a strange mirror. So I went, bought one for 25 grand, and evolved MIA. You're an expensive little starter, aren't you? This was huge as I can't really get more encounters right now, and this is due to the obedience level. Thanks to defeating Larry, we can only catch Pokemon who are level 45 and below. But every area right now on the map says Pokemon range from levels higher than that, so we're in limbo for encounters. The trainers before Tulip were actually kind of difficult, especially since you don't get a heal in between these fights. But somehow, I made it unscathed, and on we went to another double battle. Tulip leads Farigiraf and Espeon, as I lead MIA and Homer. Now I actually made Mia a special attacker as we get access to the move Snarl, which not only hits both Pokemon on the field, but also lowers their special attacks, which at least for one of them is useful. And Homer is here to resist Psychic type moves and to use the move Helping Hand, since, well, he gets access to it. On top of that, Homer has Heal Pulse to heal Mia and Slack Off to heal itself. And it doesn't matter that Slowbro is slow, because Helping Hand has +5 priority, letting it go before everything. Giraffe did have a berry, which sucked. However, the following turn it ended up dying to Snarl, which was weird. Also worth noting, Mia had a chance to not outspeed Espeon even with EVs, but it didn't matter as she switched into Florges for essentially free. Of course, Tulip will Terrastalize, which is better for us, but unfortunately it doesn't matter. Espathra outsped for a big Dazzling Gleam, and Florges uses that Moonblast, which destroyed us. I had a Black Glasses on Mia, and I really thought that would have KO'd the Ostrich. And the reason I thought that is because I did the calculations wrong, and I'll explain this a little more later. From here I go into Jingle, who can Light Screen and then slack off on Homer. And then I send in Squirt, our shiny Clodsire, since it has Water Absorb and Homer used Surf. And thankfully no one went for a Psychic type move. The next turn I decided to Terrastalize Squirt as I feared a Psychic coming in, and I was right. And I also switch in Tokoyami since it's immune to Earthquake. Espathra didn't die thanks to it roosting, and Tearful Look lowering our attack earlier. But it's okay as now Delphox is in. Of course I do switch out Tokoyami for Homer since a Fire type is on the field, but I should have just EQ'd. Espathra got a crit with Lumina Crash, and Delphox used Will-O-Wisp. Either way, I risked Clodsire's life and used Surf, and it ended up working out even though Squirt missed a Mega Horn. And that's because Espeon used Psychic Terrain again and Delphox Will-O-Wisp. With this, I knew I had won, but that last Psychic from the Fox made my heart drop for Squirt. Alright, not happy about Samurott, but I can't really complain too much on that fight. I'm realizing now that I rolled a Combee earlier for Tag Tree Thicket, and I couldn't find it at the time, and that might have been useful for Tulip. Anyways, our next encounter was a big one, which is ironic as he's actually tiny AF. It's a Gimmighoul. This is the best thing we could have gotten, especially after losing Tinkaton. Now hopefully, we don't lose you. And the encounters kept getting better as I rolled once more in Dalisapa Passage, as I count that as a separate area, and got Hisui and Zorua. And I was kind of scared I wouldn't find this in Dalisapa Passage, but I actually found this pretty quick once I realized that it wouldn't actually look like Zorua, but instead something else. In this case, it was disguised as a Citadel. I don't know how we got 2 amazing encounters for the next gym, but I can't complain. So with that, we gathered 999 coins by killing Gimmighoul and evolved this little guy into Goldango, as well as Zorua. You're so cute, but man, this is awesome. Welcome, Cheese Stick and Shigaraki. Now, the Nemona fight for Tulip was moved to Rhyme, and I figured as much, but this is the one rival fight I have zero information for. I have no idea what she has. I've been using RJ's video up until now, and this is bad as she leads a Lucario with Swords Dance, and I let Jingle to be safe with Reflect. And because I used Swords Dance, I switched into Zoroark, praying it went for a fighting type move, instead of a steel one. And it did, as we got in for free. That was huge, and then I used Bitter Malice, as it'll lower her attack in the process, letting us live a hit from Meteor Mash. Then we KO, and I think she's been watching Cynthia battle on TV. You're not just gonna whip out a Garchomp as your second Pokemon. I really didn't know what to do in this situation aside from praying she goes for a Dragon type move. So that's what I did, and thank Arceus, it did go for that Dragon type move instead of Earthquake. I know Jingle can take at least one, so I just Draining Kiss, which did a pathetic amount of damage, but we heal most of our health back that she did with Metal Claw. So it's a good thing I didn't Terrastalize. From there, she straight up switched into Skeledirge. This is her Terrastal Pokemon, but even still, I knew a Torch Song would come in, so I went for a Light Screen, and we did live one. But now she's +1 in special attack. Now, I did do something pretty risky. I went for Torment, hoping she would just Torch Song. I knew she wouldn't do it, but like, why wouldn't she? So this resulted in me losing a pretty useful encounter. And out of nowhere, probably because I used Torment, she ended up using Encore on my Bulk Up, meaning, yeah. Quaquaval eventually ends up going down, and I'm forced into Clodsire, who actually would have died had it not been for Torment, since she went for Encore. But yeah, that thing is finally down. From here, Rabsca comes in, which is just horrible, but I went into Goldango thinking Psychic would do nothing, but it still did a decent chunk, and why are you blinding me, you cheater? Anyways, I thought Power Gem would do way more. The good news was I could recover the damage off, until eventually she went for Power Swap, which we're immune to, thanks to Good as Gold. From here, Shadow Ball was able to KO, and of course, Armarouge is in. Kill me. Finally, I decided to take no risks and just Terrastalize, and from here we were able to KO everything else on her team, since Luxray's Scary Face didn't work, and Garchomp, okay, Cheese Stick. How did that not KO? I'll be honest though, I should have calced it. Make It Rain would have done a little bit more and might have secured the KO. Son of a bitch. Also, this thing has to have a good speed nature because it outsped and I have EVs in speed. What is going on? I'm also realizing right now, does she not have Earthquake? Like, Goldango could totally be dead right now. Anyways, my play next was to go into Squirt on a Crunch to live and bait something else so Espeon could hopefully live a move to outspeed and KO. But what does she do? She uses Dragon Claw on our switch. What in the AI is going on here? It must be holding a Dragon Fang and saw a KO. Anyways, now I'm just confused on what it could use, since anything kills Squirt. So either I sack Squirt, or I go into Snow praying she Dragon Claws. Both situations are pretty horrible. But it's either we lose one Pokemon or no Pokemon, so let's not try to lose more. Oh my god, yes, it used Metal Claw. And I'm convinced at this point that it doesn't have a ground type move. What's crazy is anything else would have KO'd Espeon since it did crit. My luck is good and bad right now. Now we just have to outspeed, use Expanding Force, and that was the hardest fight I've had so far in this game. I don't know if these Pokemon are EV trained or what, but something definitely changed. After this fight, I go catch some Paldean Sea encounters since we just lost our water type and ended up getting this broken Pokemon, this fighting crab, which is great since we also lost the fighting type, and then this. That's definitely fodder. You're so derpy, Owen. This Crabominable is actually great because we got the right ability and we got the better Terra type. At least defensively, which is good because Owen is slow and has more HP. As for Gwen, she evolves differently in Compass. Instead of going to the Union Circle, you just attach a Power Bracer and level it up, which is super helpful. Now, the next series of fights are Rhyme's sidekicks, and I was terrified. Mufasa almost died, but luckily none of them were really targeting Cheese Stick, and we can terastallize for each one of these fights. But the real troublemaker was the last person, leading 2 Ghost Starters. I know I need Skeledirge out of here, and it's a special attacker, guaranteed, and I have Intimidate, so Decidueye doesn't really scare me, because more than likely it is a physical attacker. I was just going to crunch the Decidueye, but decided, what if the Skeledirge lives? And it did live a Shadow Ball, so I'm glad I crunched it as well, as the Owl goes for Phantom Force. Also, I'm pretty sure they do have EVs. That Skeledirge should have at least been close to dying. I don't think I need to Terastallize since these fights do give you boosts, but screw it, and down goes Ceruledge, and Phantom Force does nothing. Other than that, we were good, and on to fight Rhyme. This is until I realized Cheese Stick is actually above the level cap, which is 63. This just got a little bit more complicated. Okay, so I think I came up with something that might work. This is the team I'm using for this fight, and you might be wondering why I'm bringing Espeon. Well, you might know that Zoroark has the ability Illusion, and if anything does try to hit us, they'll think it's an Espeon, since I have Espeon at the back of the party, meaning she'll try to Shadow Ball me. And we're on Normal and Ghost type, meaning we're immune to that. So Rhyme leads these two, and Shigaraki could just Shadow Ball and I could lead something else and kill Banette, but what's the fun in that? So instead, I use the move Snarl. I don't know what's going on. This didn't kill any of them with Helping Hands from the Dunsparce. I mean, how? On top of that, Gengar outsped, which pretty much confirms these Pokemon do have EVs, and probably the right natures. As for it living with me having black glasses on, I have no idea. And on top of that, Gengar's Curse Body ability disabled Snarl. Wonderful. From here, I thought long and hard about what I wanted to do, and just decided to Shadow Ball Gengar, waiting on that Perish Song, but it never used it. Again, the reason I know it has Perish Song is because it used Perish Song on RJ when he played this game. Anyways, it went for Shadow Ball again, meaning Shigaraki's Illusion is still up since it hasn't been hit, and we're at +2 now. So from there, Shadow Ball KOs her Hisuian Typhlosion, which you just wouldn't see in this game, so it's cool to see. And then Houndstone just goes for Shadow Ball again. Once Frostlass is in, I thought it would outspeed since Gengar outsped, and they have the same speed stat, but no, we did, and now it was just these two. And as you can imagine, the same thing happened. That AI manipulation is crazy. How does it not realize Espeon is immune, so it's not gonna die? I guess it just doesn't make sense to Rhyme. Oh, and by the way, the reason Snarl didn't kill her first 2 Pokemon was because I wasn't calcing for doubles. I actually had no idea that spread moves did less damage in doubles. But I mean, I don't play doubles, so yeah, you learn something new every day. From here, I went to get 2 more encounters in Sonar, the Noibat, and Dim, the Heracross, and they both had the good Terra types, which was nice. Up next was Ortega, and I did what I usually do, and that's burn Azumarill, change its ability, and a little Reflect for some extra precaution. Then Tokoyami comes in to Agility and Hone Claws. But this thing actually has Tickle in this mod, which lowers our attack, and on top of that, it has Belly Drum, which is an egg move, but that doesn't even matter, as it has an eject pack, so it just ejects into Klefki. Now, this is actually good, as we can set up to max and get to +4 speed, and rest when we're ready. When we wake up, everything on his team gets 1 shot, and the Starmobile is in. By the way, the Starmobiles have the Steel typing added to them, and they are significantly stronger than their original counterparts in terms of stats. I'm saying this now because I didn't read the documentation, and I didn't know this until now. So as you can see, that did absolutely nothing. and I'm at +6 attack. And he confused us with Mystical Torque. Luckily, we did break through one, but then it was all over, as we hit ourselves and that had to have hurt. Tokoyami finally falls, and I don't know if I can beat this thing. I go into Mufasa for a big Intimidate, then I did figure out it had a ground type move for steel types. But regardless, I did go into Squirt, who surprisingly tanked that, so I guess most of the buff is probably toward defense and HP. Anyways, Squirt then terrestrializes, and an Earthquake still doesn't KO, but it's fine. Okay, not fine, that was a crit. That was kind of scary, and I don't want to face Eri, but I have to, and I actually have a neat strat. So basically, as we saw with Rhyme, the AI is really dumb when it comes to illusion, so all we have to do is put Dunsparce this time at the end of the party, and all Annihilate will do is try to cross-chop it until its demise. We nasty plot 3 times, agility once, and she'll never go for anything other than that cross-chop. As fast as her Pokemon came in were as fast as they went down, until that behemoth of a vehicle came in. I don't know why, but this thing straight up did not care that I was a ghost type. So I'm assuming it has the ability Scrappy. And this straight up demolishes Sigaraki's Wrath in an instant. Does it normally have Scrappy? And on top of that, we barely did anything to this thing. And we're max. Either way, I went into Squirt to get some powerful EQs off. And since I don't really want to lose Squirt, I go ahead and I sack Useless, who turned out to be pretty useful. Now I went into Talonflame, who got some hits off with Flame Charge, but ultimately died to Giga Impact of all things. But this is actually pretty huge, and this is because now she needs to recharge and I still have Squirt. Of course, it didn't KO, but this Starmobile has gotten 2 shift gears up, and to be honest, I think it's the end of the line for Squirt. I didn't think it would go for Giga Impact again, so I decided to stay in and bait it on one of my other 2 Pokemon, but it actually did do it. And I was kind of scared of using Drill Run with the Dunsparce, who I never named because he's just iconic, but I did it. I sent it, and there we go. Harry was defeated. That was a straight massacre. Shigaraki, I sure am not going to miss you. Who am I gonna miss? It's my beautiful shiny Squirt. Look at him. How could you hate him? I'll tell you who I do hate though. Grusha, because I know she's gonna set up the snow. Well, I'm gonna be honest though, I completely forgot about the move Aurora Veil, but for some reason, he just used Snowscape again. It's already snowing, dude. Now, the good news is Brick Break does go through and break the Aurora Veil, and at +4 attack, we really can KO everything with Snow Up. I did have a Lumberry in case she froze with something, and Frostlass is the reason I Trailblazed, and everything else literally just dies. Even this defensive-ass Avalon. I'm so glad doubles are done with. But not gonna lie, that fight was the perfect battle for doubles. From there, I just took on the remaining Titans as they are a higher level starting with Iron Treads. I led Mufasa to Intimidate, and I really thought a ground type move was coming, but no. This guy just straight up predicts me and wild charges into my frickin' Slowbro. At least it didn't do half. And it rarely hit us. In fact, it never used Wild Charge ever again, meaning Homer surfed away him plus half of Arvin's team. You gotta love the new gliding mechanic. It doesn't just nosedive you in this game because Miraidon is lazy. Nope, we can fly while gradually going down. I love how this thing almost ate us, and our first reaction is fighting stance. We fear nothing. This thing literally didn't hit me once. I mean, I think it wanted bacon for lunch because all it would do was target Arvin's pig. As for Tatsugiri, I felt like it was going to freeze dry, but no, it went for Water Spout, and man did that hurt. So I had to sack Petrol, and Mia too came in. And it's definitely going to be joining Mia in the box soon. The good news was Arboliva getting hit means grassy terrain gets set up, and this thing wasn't using Frost Breath. Plus we had the move Synthesis. But our luck did eventually run out, and not just for Lilligant. No, this stupid sushi thing has the move Origin Pulse, which it was just hiding in the back for when my Goldango hit the field. I swear if I could just hop in the game right now, I'd grab your tiny ass and put you on a cutting board and roll you up into a California roll. Screw you. G-Stick, you were amazing. Seriously, I'm going to miss you. Now I only have my own G-Stick left in my life. Finally, all of these Titans are done with. Arvin, I think we deserve a break. Let's just take one hit. Screw your Mabostiff. All that's left is a couple more things, starting with the Elite Four. This is kind of hard because I straight up only know like 2 of their teams. Rika is almost completely blind for me. But I figure most ground types are physical, so Cloyster here should be good, and it was. She led Clodsire. As long as she doesn't pull the same thing Nemona did with her Bronzong, that meaning Clodsire being a special attacker, we should be fine. Rika starts off by getting spikes on the field, as I Iron Defense a couple of times. She also got a Sandstorm up, so I do try to wait that out using Protect since I do have leftovers on Cloyster. And I use my last ability capsules to change Cloyster's shell armor with Skill Link. Now we just Shell Smash literally one time, Protect to wait out Sandstorm in case, and Icicle Spear everything in sight. And it looks like that Clodsire had a Light Clay on it, which is kind of weird for AI. And something tells me that this Donphan probably doesn't have Sturdy, since all sorts of Pokemon this run have not been having their abilities. I feel like it has the ability Sandveil, trying to be cheeky to make me miss. But I'm not really too sure, but I guess it can't hurt to Protect to wait the Sandstorm out, so I do, and she reveals that she has the move Head Smash. And ladies and gentlemen, I was correct. I missed an Icicle Spear. She straight up doesn't have Sturdy. I guess it's a good thing that I did wait out the storm, and now we literally cannot miss. Donphan, Camerupt, and Hippowdon all see Frozen Hell. And then Gastrodon comes in. And yes, I did calc this because this was either going to be a Gastrodon or it was going to be a Wishcash. But did it matter? No, this thing lived on literally 1 HP and Earth-powered Cloyster. That is so unfortunate. From there, Azu Aquatails, which in hindsight, I shouldn't have done, as it could have had the ability Storm Drain, meaning it has Sand Force, so that her ground-type moves do more damage in Sandstorm. Rika, you're trying to be different, and it's kind of annoying. And a Mudsdale as her ace is just straight up terrifying, because this thing is a defensive beast who lived an Aquatail. Luckily, it did do a lot as it went for the move Substitute, which won't work since it doesn't have enough health, and that paired with its ability Stamina would have been genius. I might have to use that sometime. I'm totally gonna lose against Hassel. I should have just went for a second Shell Smash. Poppy was super easy as Fortress is the perfect Pokemon to set up on, but I was surprised to see her having a Alolan Dug trio, and I was even more surprised that it didn't outspeed us, or that Tangling Hair didn't activate. So 1, I'm guessing it didn't have speed investment, and 2, it must have had Sandveil again to make us miss. What is wrong with these people? I don't know. I'm not complaining. Next up is Larry, and this one took me some time to come up with the strat because thankfully I know Larry's entire team and the fact that his lead is Gyarados with a Walkenberry. So I led Snow for this intricate strat that does in fact have a chance to fail. So this Gyarados has the move Dragon Dance and Bite for sure. Thankfully, it's not Crunch. But either way, the other 2 moves I assume are either Aquatail / Waterfall / maybe Liquidation, and probably Earthquake for an Electric type. Snow is leading to Baton Pass into Luxray, and here's how. I figure this thing is going to Dragon Dance turn 1, and I think that because that's what it did against RJ's Alolan Raichu, despite it having a super effective bite. Espeon has a move called Psych Up, which will reset all of our stats and copy the opponent's. So in other words, we reset Intimidate and copy his Dragon Dance, and lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. Larry, you're totally predictable. Now, I can't just Psych Up turn 1 since Espeon is super fast, and Psych Up doesn't have negative priority. So instead, I just reflected, and turn 2, I don't really know if it would dance twice. Maybe it would since I have a Reflect up now, but it looks like it didn't, and we take half from Waterfall. So that Reflect might have mattered. Also, I did bring a Colbur Berry for Bite. Now, since we're faster, we Baton Pass into Mufasa, who gets a big Intimidate off, but Gyarados actually Dragon Dance now, meaning he's faster. This is pretty bad. Now, I think we do outspeed everything aside from Gyarados, even if they have EVs. And also, I'm realizing this thing didn't intimidate us. So maybe it has the ability Moxie? I wish I had known that. I would have just led Mufasa. Either way, we Terrasilize, taking a brutal Waterfall. And even with that Walkenberry, that thing is gone. With that, Tropius is up, and thankfully we do get access to the move Ice Fang, so this could make us lose the run if we miss. But we don't even need to use that move. Terra Blast is a guaranteed KO, assuming no EVs. And also, I feel like this thing might have a Yachi Berry. Okay. It didn't KO? Maybe it does have EVs? Well, there goes my sweep. Now, I did switch in and out since it kept whirlwinding me, but eventually I did get in unscathed thanks to Larry using the move Solar Beam. And Mufasa just finished it off from there. But still, more than likely, it's over. Staraptor didn't intimidate us? This game is trying to be so different. I could have just led Mufasa. Also, this means they don't have EVs and or good speed natures because if they did, well, Staraptor would have outsped, but it didn't. Charizard might have a good speed nature since it's set up Sunny Day, but I don't really know. Also, Larry is straight up throwing right now. He could have killed us there. Flamigo gets naturally outsped, and all that's left is this tanky Dragonite. And based on everything I've seen so far, this thing is totally going to have its hidden ability Multiscale, which reduces a move's damage by 50% if it's at full HP. meaning we can't KO in one shot. I figure to not have a complete massacre, I just need to get some information. So unfortunately, I do sack Mufasa. And yeah, look how much that Terra Blast did. I mean, even with multiscale, there has to be EV somewhere here, but I just straight up don't know, and it's frustrating. Anyways, it went for Outrage. Why did it go for Outrage? I really thought they would have given it EQ, but no, it used Outrage, meaning we win, since Azu can just play rough and is immune to Outrage. But I knew I needed Ice Punch as it did take 2 play roughs to KO. We won, but at what cost? I'm sorry, Mufasa. You were my favorite shiny. For Hassel, I just lead Snow as it's my only option, and I just Calm Mind, Trailblaze since it set up Tailwind, and this led to it using its eject button into Haxorus, which was kinda scary, but I still had Reflect up, and we lived a Breaking Swipe, meaning now I just Baton Pass into Sonar, hoping we live. And we do since Hassel's dumb and just Aqua Tails. So now we just Terastallize, and I did figure something would live, and I thought it would be Dragalge, but no, it was his Gudra. But it just went for Life Dew. Hassel, you're an idiot. That was the easiest of the 4. Keywords of the 4. As for the entire thing, it looks like Gita is still insanely easy. Why do they make her lead Gastrodon? I have no idea, but this gives Dim a free Swords Dance, and no one has a Sash on her team. A Trailblaze knocks that out for a speed boost, and that's it. Gita is still as easy as ever. She has a good team, but I just don't know why they would make her lead that, or give her a Gastrodon in the first place. We already saw it in the Elite Four. I don't know. But on to the true champion, Nemona. Now, she starts off with a Palmot, and this hits like a truck with its double shock move. So I immediately went for a Reflect, and as you can see, that still did a ton, even with a Reflect up. From here, I Baton Pass into Petunia on a Nuzzle, unfortunately, as we do end up getting paralyzed 2 turns in a row, after taking a Giga Impact. Luckily, we do live a couple more moves thanks to lefties, and we do get to +2 to Baton Pass into Dim. Now, one of the bad things about Dim is we couldn't get a Trailblaze off, so this thing outspeeds for damage on us before taking it out. But at the very least, we throw Chop Braviary, Close Combat Tinkaton, and oddly enough, we outspeed Espathra. How? That makes 0 sense. Do these things have EVs? Do they have good natures? Or do they not? I'm so confused. With that, Electros is down, and all that's left is her Skeledirge. I totally should have wiped here. Now, Skeledirge more than likely has its hidden ability Unaware. Why wouldn't it? So Close Combat won't just KO, although it did a decent chunk. I'm sorry, Dim, but you did an amazing job. Rest easy. With Pneumonia using Blast Burn, her Croc needs to recharge the next turn, so all Azu has to do is hit an Aqua Tail. Can she do it? Yeah, she can, and we actually won. We beat a hardcore Nuzlocke of the hardest Pokemon Violet mod that exists at the moment. This mod was super awesome to play through, even though sometimes I wanted to rip my hair out. But honestly, even playing this game without hardcore Nuzlocke rules is probably fun since you can just get the starters and different regional Pokemon in the beginning. Very annoying that there's like no documentation for it, but this just might be the definitive way to play Scarlet and Violet from now on. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed.